Hari Om, everybody. Today, let us understand the process of Nididhyasa. The Vedantic teaching involves three steps: Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasa. Shravana is listening to the Vedantic truths, what Vedamata says, what Guru says. Listen. Now, what is this listening? The entire Vedantic teaching is centered around Atmadana, Jivatma, Paramatma, Ekatvam, Tattvamasi. So that is Shravana. Shravana is like putting a seed in the plant, to a seed. Okay, then seed of Vedantic truth has to go into our mind. Then Manana is removing the weed, remove all wrong understanding about Vedantic doubts, basically. Get rid of doubts. How do you get rid of doubts? This Vedanta study circle is a process by which you can get rid of all doubts. Discuss with each other, get a clarity, get a conviction that this is the truth. So Manana process is what you do in a Vedanta study circle. So this is like removing the weed and protecting the plant. And Nididhyasa is like watering the plant. The plant has to grow. So Nididhyasa is the meditation process. Today we are going to discuss about Nididhyasa, the meditation process. Now, meditation process, many people think that meditation process is making mind blank, mind thoughtless. On the contrary, Vedantic meditation is having the right thought, going deep within the mind. The right thought is Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya, Sarvam Khalida Brahma. These are the right thoughts. Holding on to the right thought, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and that thought goes deep inside. It's called Nididhyasa. It's not a thoughtless state. It is a state of Gnana. A wisdom is there. So that, let us understand with meditation, Vedantic meditation. We have two aspects of our mind, conscious mind and subconscious mind. So conscious mind is only 5% of our mind. And when I interact with you, interact with the world, the physical world, everything happens in the conscious mind. Our subconscious mind is deep rooted. The subconscious mind is where vasanas are stored. So when you do Shravana and Manana and Nididhyasa, the understanding goes deeper into the subconscious mind. It's a clarity which goes deep. So this meditation, Nididhyasa or Vedantic process, you should not think it's very different from any other regular learning, any other learning in life. It's not magical. See, for example, when you're driving a car, first it's a conscious learning. So consciously you're very careful to avoid traffic, to press the brake, to press the accelerator, to take care of steering wheel. So it is very, very conscious process. So learning is always conscious first. Then if you keep on practicing, what will happen? Your subconscious mind will absorb that. So conscious learning goes subconscious. Right? So now, after some time, you get a mastery. Oh, I'm expert driver. Then what it means is that conscious learning has gone to subconscious. Now you are able to drive the car anywhere very comfortably. Even in traffic, even in traffic jam, you don't have to, conscious mind don't have to worry. Subconsciously, all actions are happening. This you can think of relate to your cooking also. When you start doing cooking first, you have to be very careful how much salt I have to put, how much pepper I have to put, how much mirchi I have to put. You have to be very careful. But after some time, you can do it casually because subconscious mind is taking care. Now, what is the difference between conscious mind and subconscious mind? And the conscious mind, what you are doing, there's an ego involved. I am the doer. In the subconscious mind, there's no ego involved in that sense. A conscious thought has gone deep inside subconscious. So then it starts working. So now the entire process of Vedanta is a conscious learning, Shravana and Manana and Nididhyasa with a conscious mind. What is that you learn? You learn, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya, Sarvam Khalida Brahma, all this is Brahman. This clarity is what you are getting in Shravana and Manana. It's a conscious learning. It has to go to deep subconscious mind. Your vasanas and impressions have to reduce. So the purpose of Nididhyasa is to reduce these vasanas, and what is conscious thought, I am Brahman, has to go to subconscious, deep inside. This is exactly like any other study, any other learning. If that doesn't happen, there is a gap between the conscious mind and subconscious mind. So you will say, oh, I have listened to Vedanta many years, but still I have not realized. I have not realized is because of my past impressions and vasanas, where my subconscious mind is not in tune with the conscious learning which has happened. So the entire Vedantic teaching, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, I can illustrate through one example called Nataka Deepika. Nataka Deepika is one chapter in Panchadashi written by Vidyaranya, Swami Vidyaranya, a great scholar, great Gnani, who helped to found Vijayanagara Empire. So in earlier days, they used to light a lamp on the stage. The lamp is called Nataka Deepa. When the light is glowing, the actors will come, act and go. Rama will come and act and go. Ravana will come and act and go. The lamp will throw light on the Rama and Ravana. When stage is empty, also light will throw that light. That light is called Nataka Deepika. The example given is like a light, our self is the light, which keeps on throwing the light. What kind of light? Light of awareness. Antar Jyotihi, Bahir Jyotihi, Pratyak Jyotihi, Paratpara, Jyotireva Jyotihi, Swayam Jyotihi, Atma Jyotihi, Shivosmiham. I am the light of the self-awareness. In the light of self-awareness, the entire world appears. In the light of awareness, the mental world of thoughts, feelings, and emotions appears. In the light of awareness, the absence of anything in the deep sleep is eliminated. So awareness is light beyond all lights. I am that light, Atma Jyoti. This is the supreme light of the self. So that is illustrated through an example called Nataka Deepika in Panchadashi. Now going over to meditation process, Nididhyasa. So what is Nididhyasa? Nidhi means wealth. Dhyasa means attention. Our constant attention goes somewhere. That's called Nididhyasa. It all depends what is your attention, where your attention goes. So many of our attention goes to money, position, power, friends, relatives. So attention keeps on going to the objects of the world. If your attention goes to the subject, Atma, then it becomes Nididhyasa. Nidhi means wealth. The highest, greatest wealth is the self, Atma. Attention has to go back to the self. Whatever you do. So that process is called Nididhyasa. Now, Nididhyasa can be done with the eyes closed, or Nididhyasa can be done with the eyes open. Nididhyasa can be done when you are working also. Don't be under the impression that Nididhyasa means I have to sit and close my eyes and do something. It's good if you can do it. If you can, you can do it while working also. Who am I? Inquire and go back to yourself. Take your attention back to the self. So when attention is drifting from the self, bring back the attention to the self. That's called Nididhyasa. Nididhyasa is two types called Antar Nididhyasa and Bahir Nididhyasa. Antar Nididhyasa is inner meditation, Bahir Nididhyasa is outer meditation. So what is the difference? Antar Nididhyasa is you close your eyes and observe what's happening within the body, mind, and intellect. The attention to the inner aspects of the body, mind, and intellect is called Antar Nididhyasa. Bahir Nididhyasa is the objects of the world. So both Nididhyasa, there are three stages involved. Drashyanvit Savikalpa, Shabdanvit Savikalpa, and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So we have to understand the difference between Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa. In Savikalpa Samadhi, there is a sense of doership. I am meditating is there. The I am is there and meditating is there. There's a sense of doership in Savikalpa Samadhi. The mind may calm down, mind become calm. There's a sense of doership. I am is there and I am meditating is there. In Drashyanvit Savikalpa Samadhi, the focus is on the objects, mental objects. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, there is no I am meditating. The ego is dormant. Ego is not there. Ego is the mind, the thought is a subconscious thought. I am Brahman has gone from conscious mind to subconscious mind. Aham Brahmasmi has gone from conscious mind to subconscious mind. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi in Vedanta is not a thoughtless state. It's a state of subtle thought. The subtle thought called I am Brahman, that's called Brahmakar Vritti, has gone deep inside in subconscious, and that is there. So how is that? How is that thought? For example, are you a man? Yes, I am a man. Where is the thought I am a man? It is there in subconscious. That just pops up. I am a man. Are you a woman? Yes, I am a woman. The thought is there in subconscious, pops up. Similarly, I am Brahman. The thought has gone deep inside subconscious. It just pops up whenever required. So, Nirvikalpa Samadhi in Vedanta is not a blank state. It is a state where the conscious thought called Aham Brahman, I am Brahman, has gone deep into subconscious. It's called Sukshma Vritti, subtle thought. A gross thought called I am Brahman has become subtle thought called I am Brahman. So just like when you learn the car driving consciously and it goes to subconscious, the driving becomes simple. Then you can drive in traffic. Your conscious mind can be anywhere. Similarly, when the thought that I am Brahman has gone deep rooted in subconscious, whatever activities you do, I am Brahman thought is there in the background. You don't have to remember. Just like you don't have to remember I am a man or I am a woman. So that state is called Sahaja Samadhi. The purpose of Vedanta is to attain Sahaja Samadhi, not a temporary state called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So there is the Savikalpa Samadhi has 3 stages. Antarnidhyasa has 3 stages. Drashyanvit Savikalpa, Shabdanvit Savikalpa, and Nirvikalpa. So in Drashyanvit Savikalpa is objects associated with object associated. So what happens? Samadhi means, what is the meaning of Samadhi? Samadhi means absorption of the mind. Mind is absorbed in something. So mind can be absorbed in music, mind can be absorbed in dance, mind is absorbed in self, it's called Samadhi. Drashyanvit Savikalpa, you close your eyes, then mental objects appear in front of your eyes. What are the mental objects? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations. Whatever you are experiencing, the body-mind complex appears in front of in your mind. So giving attention to them, at the same time retaining I am Atma, I am Brahman, is called Drashyanvit Savikalpa Samadhi. So here you hold on to one thought called I am Sakshi, I am the witness. I am the witness, I am witnessing thoughts, feelings, emotions in the body-mind complex. So that is called Drashyanvit Savikalpa Samadhi. But there is a thought, I am Sakshi, I am the witness. Okay, it's not a thoughtless state. So from that you go into Shabdanvit Savikalpa Samadhi. Shabdanvit, Shabda means Vedanta teaching. The Vedanta teaching gives you, the lot of teachings of Vedanta are there, right? That's what we do in Shravana and Manana. So in various ways, the teaching is given, how you are Brahman, Tattvamasi. So that has to be recollected. A contemplation has to be done on the Vedantic teaching. That's called Shabdanvit Savikalpa Samadhi. There's a word associated with Savikalpa Samadhi. So I am Sakshi, and as Sakshi, my nature I am contemplating. What is Sakshi as nature of Sakshi? Thoughts appear and disappear in me, I am not affected by thoughts. Emotions appear and disappear in me, I am not emotions. Feelings appear in me, disappear in me, I am not feelings. Okay, I am not the feelings, thoughts, emotions. That separation is happening. There's a discrimination. Viveka is applied in the teaching of Vedanta. As Sakshi, I am Asanga, Asangoham. I am not attached. I am unattached. Asangoham. I'm detached. So this is the Satchidananda Swarupoham. I am of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. So all this thought process based on the Vedantic teaching has to be recollected in Shabdanavit Savikalpa Samadhi. So here again the thought process is there. It's called contemplation. Drashyanavit Savikalpa Samadhi, there is a thought called I am Sakshi. Shabdanavit Savikalpa Samadhi, nature of Sakshi is being contemplated upon based on the teaching of Vedanta. It's not a thoughtless state. Then we come to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So then all thoughts have come down, mind has become calm. All right. I am Brahman thought is not opposed by subconscious impressions. Subconscious impression will come back, don't oppose, because there's a clarity and conviction which is arriving in the conscious mind. So otherwise the subconscious thought, I am a man, I am a woman, can come and oppose the conscious thought. Right now, that understanding goes deeper. So the mind relaxes. Then there's no longer conscious thought is required. It goes into subconscious, or it is already going to subconscious. There's no subject object distinction because conscious mind has relaxed now. Okay. I am the infinite self, Brahman. This is the thought. This is the Brahmakar Vrati. Brahmakar Vrati is what is helping you to go deeper into meditation. A thought called I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. So here you have to define I am. What is this I am? So the I am is nothing but Pratyagatma or innermost self, which is not the body, not the mind, not the intellect. Nanu, nanembudu, nanalla, ideha, manabuddhi, nanalla, Sachidanandatma, Shivanannani, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness. That pure consciousness, which is I am, is Brahman. So this thought is called Brahmakar Vrati. The thought is required called Brahmakar Vrati, and Brahmakar Vrati becomes a subconscious thought. So the mind has relaxed. So it's like a relaxed sleep, a Jagrata Sushupti, a waking state awareness is there, and sleep like relaxation is there. So both conditions is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a temporary state. Vedanta is not looking for Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a state where we are trying to eliminate the impressions in the mind. Okay. So many people think that Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the ultimate realization. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is not realization. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a cleaning up process of subconscious mind. Realization can happen only through Shravana and Manana. Jnana. Jnana is required for realization. Nididhyasa is a cleaning up process. Conscious mind and subconscious mind come together. So there's a wrong understanding in the spiritual circle that I'll attain Nirvikalpa Samadhi and then I'll attain enlightenment. Nirvikalpa Samadhi helps you to reduce your subconscious impressions. But Jnana is I am Brahman has to come through Shravana and Manana. Then there is something called Bahir Nididhyasa. Object focused, outer meditation. So when I open the world, eyes, I see the world. So there, the focus is on the existence aspect of world. I see flower exists, the tree exists, the mountain exists, the sun exists, the river exists. The existence is what is common to all. The flower can change the form, sun can change the form, river can change the form, but the existence doesn't change. Unchanging existence is the background of the world. And that existence cannot be seen. It's unseen. What is seen is the form. Form is not even name and form. Name and form. The name and form is mithya. Existence is the reality. Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. Existence is Brahman. That's Satya. The Mithya is the name and form. So now, when you ignore name and form, what is there is existence. Existence cannot be seen because you are also the existence. You are the existence. Whenever you use the word I am, you are pointing out to I as a consciousness, I am as an existence. So I exist, I am conscious. As the existence, I am Brahman. So this thought is required. So Drashyanavit Savikalpa Samadhi is, you see the object. It can be done with the eyes open. This Samadhi can be done with eyes open. So eyes open, you pay attention to the objects of the world, existence aspect of the world. Okay, name and form you ignore. In that Drashyanavit Savikalpa Samadhi, Drashya means objects seen, objects are seen. I am meditating. The subject-object distinction is there. The mind calms down when you are meditating. Then you go into Shabdanvit Savikalpa Samadhi. Here you take the support of Vedantic teaching, words of Vedanta. Okay. The word is Brahman. Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya, and world is also Brahman. The name and form you ignore, the world is Brahman. So that understanding is required. Then, as existence, I am one with existence. I am awareness. Awareness and existence are one. Sat and Chit are one. Existence is infinite. I am Sat Chit Ananda Surupa. So this thought process is required with the eyes open or when you are focused on the objects of the world. So in Shabda, we are taking Shabdani Savikalpa Samadhi, we are doing contemplation. Based on the teaching of Vedanta, we are recollecting again and again and bringing our mind to Savikalpa Samadhi. So in Antarnidhyasa, focus on the Sakshi or the witness. In Bahya Nidhyasa, focus is on the existence, unchanging existence in the subject and object. So then as the mind calms down, you enter into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, again, that I am Brahman as existence and awareness, that thought goes deeper. That thought is called Brahmakara Vritti. The Brahmakara Vritti has gone deep into subconscious mind. I am infinite Brahman. So that Brahmakara Vritti has, a gross thought has become subtle thought. Sukshma. It's also like a state of Jagrata Sushupti or waking sleep. You have full awareness of waking state and relaxation of deep sleep state. So this is called Bahir Nididhyasa, Bahya Samadhi and Antar Samadhi, the two types of Samadhi. And this is based on teaching of a book called Dragdashya Viveka, one of the Prakarana Granthas of Vedanta. So there is a lot of misconception saying that Samadhi, what is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi is realization. And there's a lot of stress on thought-free state. Vedantic teaching is there cannot be any thought-free state. Either thought can be gross or subtle. Okay, a zero thought state is not there. And then another understanding of another teaching of Vedanta is there's a waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, and Turiya is there. Turiya, consciousness is there beyond waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Now, this Turiya cannot be separate from anything because Turiya is the background of everything. So it's the background of waking state, background of dream state, background of deep sleep state. Physically, they cannot separate them out at Turiya, background state, waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Only logically you can do. And the logical separation is called Viveka, discrimination. And with that logical separation, you have to identify who is the self. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness. All objective reality is mithya. That understanding, clarity has to emerge in the intellect. So this entire discrimination takes place in the intellect. The subject object, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, as done in a meditation practice, sometimes is more of a thoughtless state, a blankness. It's like a slave, like a sleep. There's no jnana. But a Vedantic Samadhi, that's called Jada Samadhi, unconscious Samadhi. Vedantic teaching is about Chetana Samadhi or conscious Samadhi. The example of unconscious Samadhi is one monk starts meditating in a riverbed, near the riverbed. And there's a flood. He asks his disciple to go and fetch a glass of water. There's a flood and he's submerged in the sand. People come and lift him after 1 week of effort. Then first thing he asks is, where is my glass of water? There's no wisdom which is there in Samadhi. Whereas in Vedantic Samadhi or Jnana Samadhi, a tremendous amount of wisdom is generated because of Brahmakara Vritti. Brahmakara Vritti helps you to get rid of all other subconscious impressions. Gets established in your subconscious. I am Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. So Vedantic Samadhi is not a thoughtless state. It is a Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It's a temporary state. But Vedantic Samadhi is aiming for Nirvikalpa Jnana. I am Brahman, Jnana is required. Nirvikalpa Jnana is the aim of Vedantic Samadhi. And as this Jnana, Samadhi, as this becomes deeper, okay, so then you are in a Sahaja Samadhi or natural state. Now you can do any work. Vedanta aims for a Sahaja Samadhi. You can be fully active in the world. You can be the family. You can be interactive. You can be doing your business But its samadhi, inner understanding that I am Brahman, will never be disturbed. That's happening to you now. When you are working, I am man or woman will always be there in the background. Okay, when you are interacting with family members, I am a mother is there. So that thought is deep-rooted thought. The deep-rooted thought which replaces other thoughts, other implications, identities, I am Brahman, is what we call as Sahaj Samadhi or realization. Now, do you have to go from Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa? Nididhyasa is required for everybody? Not required. If the person has done Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, he is a mature soul. So such a person is called a top ranking student or Uttama Adhikari. For him, with the Shravana alone, he can get Jnana. For Manana, Nididhyasa is not required. So, but they are such rare people who have done a good amount of practice of Shravana, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga purifies the Chitta. It brings in the qualities of Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Uparati, Shraddha, Samadhana, Mumukshatva, Shat Sampattis for a person who is practicing, who has practiced Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga qualifies you for Jnana Yoga. By the time somebody has become ripe, for him, Vedantic teaching of Tattvamasi immediately establishing Sahaj Samadhi. He doesn't have to go through a stage of Manana and Nididhyasa. Whereas, somebody who is not ripe enough, for him, Shravana and Manana may be required. For a person who is not even full ripe, he has a Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa associated with that. Karma Yoga practice and Bhakti Yoga practice is required. So now what we have to understand, what is Shravan, can you mute please?
What is that?
The essential nature is we have head, heart, and hands. A human being consists of head, heart, hands, and energy. These are 4 aspects of human being. So when you do Karma Yoga, you're doing service. It's a purification of your intention, sankalpa, and your action. Hands are getting purified. When you do Bhakti Yoga, your heart is getting purified. Chitta Shuddhi. Okay. When you do Jnana Yoga, intellect is getting purified. So now in this purification, you become a holistic person. You become head, heart, and hands get integrated. A person who has not done Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga, he can get a Vedantic Jnana if he has a good understanding, intellect, he can sharpen up. But there's no transformation doesn't happen. The emotional stability doesn't happen. Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga brings the emotional stability. Jnana Yoga brings the intellectual clarity. Intellectual clarity with the emotional stability together integrates the head and heart, conscious mind and subconscious mind. Head, heart, and hand get integrated. That person is called Jivan Mukta or Jnani. If head and heart is not integrated, but only intellectual knowledge is there, then he can be a scholar. Okay. If heart is there, heart is fully involved with the service, devotion, then he's a Bhakta. Head and heart getting integrated and hand getting integrated. So that person is called Jnani. So he has a spontaneous actions which are of love and compassion. His heart is full of love. His head is full of clarity. Now this has come through the entire process of Vedantic teaching, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. This is the summary. Anybody has a question on this?
Prabhuji?
Yes.
This is Namit. I have a question.
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, what is Sankalpa?
Sankalpa is your determination. I want to do this. For example, what do you want to become in life?
I want to become an IITian.
I have to become an IITian is the Sankalpa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Right.
And one more question. So, Prabhuji, you told Sukshma, in the slide, it was given as Sukshma. So, what is that Sukshma, Prabhuji?
Okay. Are you a boy?
Yeah.
Now, the boy thought is there deep in your mind, right? You don't have to remember it. It's there already, hidden.
Yeah.
Right? Any computer has some programs which you don't see, but it's there in the background, right?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
So that is called Sukshma. What is there in the background, you don't have to think about it. It's already there.
Okay. Prabhuji, and what is Jagrata Sushupti?
Jagrata Sushupti or Samadhi means a state of meditation. So in sleep, you are not conscious, right?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
So you cannot think and you cannot get any jnana in sleep.
Yeah.
Wisdom is not possible in sleep. But sleep has a quality of giving me bliss, happiness, right?
Yeah.
Samadhi practice is getting that bliss or happiness of sleep, because there are no thoughts. Thoughts will reduce. At the same time, you are fully aware in the waking state. That's why jnana is possible. Wisdom is possible.
Prabhuji, can we tell it as Turiya?
Turiya, again, Turiya will come back. Okay, Turiya is the background state of all the states, right?
Yeah.
Waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. The background is Turiya. Okay, Turiya is not a state.
Yeah, Prabhuji. In
So
your talks also you mentioned. In your talks also you mentioned that Turiya is beyond all the states.
Yeah, Turiya is not a state. If Turiya is a state, then I can go into state and come back, right?
Yeah.
So when the mind gets absorbed in Turiya, that's called Samadhi. But Samadhi is not realization, because it's a Samadhi is a state of mind, mental state, just like waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. It's a temporary state.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, Turiya is not a state. So through Jnana, you have to understand, I am Brahman, I am Turiya. That is a clarity which is coming through Viveka and Vairagya, Viveka, discrimination, not a state attained through Samadhi.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. I understand.
Hariom Guruji.
Hariom, Ramaniji.
ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ that Nirvikalpa Samadhi is not self-realization.
Yeah.
ಆಮೇಲೆ you also said actual realization happens through Shravana and Manana, that is the Jnana in the intellect.
Correct.
Okay. Now, but very often we say realization is going beyond body, mind, intellect.
Correct.
What is then it means if the whole understanding is happening in the intellect?
Right.
So then what is it? What is the meaning of going beyond intellect?
Okay, I'll clarify your doubt. Okay. So Vedantic teaching, there's a shloka, Mana eva karanam manushyana bandha mokshayo. You have heard of this?
Yes.
Right? So your bondage and liberation both are in the mind.
Yes.
That means mind means intellect.
Yes.
Okay. So bondage and liberation both happen in the intellect. Is that clear?
Yes, that's clear.
Now, how does it happen is the question. Okay. So Atma is beyond the mind.
Yes.
Correct, no?
Yes.
The problem with the intellect is Atma is objectified as a body and mind. That's called Adhana. Right? When intellect objectifies Atma, I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect, is the Adhana in the intellect. Okay? So when that Adhana in the intellect goes, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. The intellect is pointing to Atma, which is not an object. So that is called Jnana.
Okay.
So the Atma Jnana happens in the intellect. Atma Adhana is in the intellect, Atma Jnana is also in the intellect. But Atma Jnana means recognizing the Atma as not a body, mind and intellect, as a subject, not object. So how does that recognition happen? Body is object, mind is object, intellect is object. Okay? I am the Atma. That means there's no object-subject separation is there. Right? So when you are able to see clearly, I am the Atma, Atma is Brahman. We hear Brahman and Atma is both replaced by the word called I am. Okay? That understanding is, that clarity emerges in the intellect. And that clarity is called Atmadhana. Right? Going beyond the intellect means, going beyond the body, mind, intellect means, body, mind, intellect are objects. Going beyond body, mind, intellect is going to Pratyek Atma, which is innermost self, consciousness, which is not an object. But mind can recognize that object as myself. I am the Atma. Okay, so for example, when you listen to Brahman and all, we think Brahman also we objectify. Brahman is infinite and objectify. Finally, when the clarity emerges, I am Brahman. Now Brahman is not object. Brahman is myself. That myself clarity has to emerge in the intellect.
Okay.
Have I clarified your doubt?
Yes. And one more things, of course, that your narration of that Panchadashinali, that slide was very good. Natya Deepika, that even when there are no characters, the light continues to be there.
Correct.
It refers to the awareness in us. That was a very good concrete example.
Right.
And the third thing is in this when we do Nididhyasana, when we do the breathing and all, we start now focusing on the Sakshi.
Right.
And Sakshi sees the body, mind, intellect as objects.
Right.
So that means even though we are entering a little subtle state of mind, but at that state, the Dvaita still exists, no?
Correct. Sakshi and Saksham, Dvaita is there.
The moment you use the word Sakshi, Dvaita is still there.
Correct. Sakshi level, Dvaita is there.
Because when you say witness, then is something object called witnessed is there.
Correct. You are right. Sakshi, Dvaita is there. Sakshi and Saksham, Dvaita is there. Then how do you remove that Dvaita? Then you say Saksham is also Mithya. Whatever I witness is Mithya. Then Sakshi has nothing to witness. Then that same Sakshi is Brahman. So
that you attain through Nididhyasana.
That you understand through Viveka and Vairagya. Nididhyasa is only process of recollecting what you have done in Shravana and Manana.
Okay, that is okay. Viveka, Vairagya.
Yeah.
But you have to keep emphasizing yourself that to remove those vasanas, old vasanas, and kind of strengthen this new vasana. This can happen only in Nididhyasana.
No, it can happen in Shravana and Manana also, depending on the maturity of the seeker. That's why Vedanta says, Shravana, for Uttamadhikari, Shravana Matrena Mukti.
Okay.
Uttamadhikari.
Madhyama is Manana.
Shravana and Manana. Okay. Adhamadhikari, Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa, 3 are required. Now, why did he become Uttamadhikari? Because all these things, what he has required, he has done already Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, purely. Yes. So he already became Uttamadhikari. For him, vasanas are no more vasanas are there.
Correct.
Right? So that's the...
Okay. Thank you.
Is your question answered that how going beyond the mind?
Yes.
Okay. Hari Om.
Prabhuji, one question I have. Anup here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is one question because so recently some of the experience, right? Or I don't know, based on my experience, the grace, right? Or the transmissions. So this is doing much more graceful work rather than doing our own Nididhyasa. I don't know. This is my own experience.
No, you're absolutely right. Okay. See, there are actually yoga. When we speak of yoga, okay, Kriya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga. Okay. Yoga, there are two, in any relation, there are two aspects. A transformation and transcendence. Understand two things?
Yes.
Transformation and transcendence. Okay. So when you do, now your question is with specific reference to Kriya Yoga. Correct?
No, more specific to the transmission, the grace.
I'm saying the more specific to, you come because you come from Kriya Yoga background, I'm giving the answer from the Kriya Yoga background.
Okay.
Okay. So any yoga, right, involves a ego. If there's no ego, there's no yoga. Right? I want to do breathing practice. I want to do spinal cord breathing. I want to do third eye meditation. I is there everywhere. Correct? So a Kundalini awakening or energy awakening can happen two ways. Through my own effort, forceful effort of pushing the energy upwards. Okay? Or a blessing or a grace of a Mahatma, which will pull the energy. Right? Your effort is zero. Ego effort is zero.
Correct.
Correct? So the ego effort is zero. Ego is not doing anything, but the energy is being pulled upwards. It's like somebody has fallen into a pit. Somebody gives a hand and picks him up. The person who is in the pit does not have to do any effort. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Correct.
A poor man is there. A poor man is struggling. Then rich man will come and say, give 1,000 rupees, start a business.
Correct.
So it's an intervention happens. That intervention is called grace.
And that is least effort path also.
Yeah, but what happened for that least effort path, people are not mature enough to get that.
Okay. Can I ask some more questions like here?
No, let me complete
Okay.
let me complete the logic, right?
Mm.
So for the least effort path, okay, you should be ripe enough to accept that, receive that.
Okay, so there only one observation that there only right there. So I told you, right, my wife or even my parents or the people, they're not even interested to this subject. But
Right.
what I am observing now, without I don't even tell anything, it's all my inner thing, no. But they have started that interest develop some way. I don't know.
No, see,
And I don't even think they are mature, or even I myself, I don't
no,
consider I'm a mature
what
enough
is
person.
happening here? What is happening, Thomas? Each of us, your wife or your husband, your father, right?
Mother.
A mother or father, there are karmic connections, right? Karmic connections, you understand now? There's linkages. Now, in this linkage, one link starts shaking. So other links also get affected. Are you going to say? It's a connection, right?
Like a string.
It's a string. So one string starts vibrating, other strings also starts moving. Because they are all connected. They may appear as a physical independent entities, but you are all of you are connected energetically and karmically. So that's why if it affects you, it affects others also in some degree, depending on their level of maturity. They didn't come into your life just like that. They have come into life because of that.
Guruji, but I'm seeing now even strangers also. I don't know. I was very much even in my mind. I'll tell you one today, just now also what happened. Somebody like, for example, you know, in the road rage, no, people, if you don't, there's somebody overtake and then they will shout and all that. And somebody came and then shout. And after that, I don't know, one thing happened is I'm more like a background. Like again, I'm more like a space, and I mean, and that person come and suddenly he is very friendly, just almost like, and this is some, and I was very much judgmental also because I am my character. I don't accept something, okay, something like that, or even no. So I am very much in a curious judgmental also in my mind, but it is working and it is more very effortless. So I don't know.
Basically, we are like an antenna.
Okay.
Our body mind is like an antenna. Okay. If the antenna is good enough, the grace will flow into you. It's not because of you. Correct. It is in spite of you.
Correct.
It is through you. Okay. So in Christianity, they call it as Holy Ghost. Correct. Okay. In Vedanta, we call it as Prana Shakti or Kundalini Shakti. So that Shakti is intelligent enough to operate through you. All that happens is through you, not because of you. It's in spite of you. Now, when that energy gets awakened by a master, so that energy starts functioning. It's like a master is like a lamp, which will light another lamp. So the lamp starts glowing. The energy of the master, energy of the consciousness starts flowing there. So then a lot of things happen in and around you. Correct. That's exactly what you see.
And that is very, very easiest path. I don't know. Somehow this is like.
No, grace is the Kundalini or Shakti path is the one of the easiest paths. But you have to be ready to receive it.
Okay.
Right? It's not that every Tom, Dick, and Harry will get it. That a certain amount of maturity is required to receive it. It's like giving a diamond to the monkey. Okay, you give a diamond to the monkey will see and throw it as throw stone. So same Shakti path somebody gets, he may not value it and the power will go down.
Okay.
No, you are valuing it. That's why it's growing. When you give value, you are giving respect. Okay, there are people who get it, but they don't give value. That will diminish.
Oh, okay.
Right? See, let us say somebody gives a gift to you. Okay, right? And you don't value the gift. So the person will feel uncomfortable. This energy is...
okay, but similar scenario also from some people when I was speaking to us there, but it is only last few days and it is diminished. And some it is only some you feel some goodness, some energy path and diminish.
There can be two reasons.
And there's no transformation happens. It is only some experience.
That can be two reasons. Okay. One is that possibly you are not mature enough to receive at that point of time because of your karmic connection. Possibly. That means your antenna was not fully equipped. Possibly. Second possibility is that person is not evolved enough to give enough energy. Also possible. The third possibility is, okay, sorry, only two possibilities. Either you didn't have the ability to receive it fully, or the person didn't have the ability to give it fully. Right? When this matching happens, The matching happens because of karmic connection. That's what we call it, karmic connection. That's called divine will. In that, what will happen? The full transformation starts happening.
Okay. So my question now is that Nididhyasa will complement that. It'll increase
So
that.
you have to understand what you are doing now is called Kundalini Upasana.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I told you what is Jnana. There are 4 yogas are there. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Kriya Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So these 3 are called yoga. So yoga means practice is required. Means you have to sit silently for some time. So this upasana of Kundalini will intensely purify all your vasanas. So Jnana will give you transcendence. This is transformation process, and that is called transcendence process. You understand the difference?
Yes.
What you are going through is called transformation. And final stage is transcendence. And the transcendence can come through Jnana.
Okay.
Are we clear?
Yeah. So the other way also happens. For example, somebody is having transcendence without doing any other thing. Directly that one. Will that happen all
Then
the
he will not
purification?
go to transfer. He may not go to transformation.
No, just because for a communication purpose, if somebody there and that person there.
What will happen? The transcendence, somebody cuts into transcendence. Okay.
Okay.
Then what will happen is that his body mind will integrate with the power, so consciousness, depending on his prarabdha karma. So then the transformation happens through the body mind complex. The other way.
Other way. So other way also possible, no? Like.
Other way also possible, but may or may not happen. That depends on the prarabdha karma.
Okay.
Okay. Understand? Ultimately, everything has to be an integrated whole. It should not be partial. So that person where the transcendence has happened and transformation takes place, he comes with Jnana background and the transformation happens within the body mind complex. But to get to Jnana, he has already done some amount of purification. So that what will happen? That starts affecting the body mind complex. The other way. See, that's like a Shakti going into Shiva and then Shiva and Shakti coming back. The energy moving back into consciousness and consciousness and energy dancing together through that body mind complex. That's what will happen. Are we clear?
Yeah. So without Shakti, nobody can. I'm telling, without Shakti, somebody directly contemplating or experiencing the Shiva. Then what happens?
No, there are 3 Shaktis. The Shakti has 3 dimensions: Ichcha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. So right now, what you are experiencing is the Kriya Shakti of the 3 part.
Okay.
Right? There is a Kriya Shakti is operating through you right now. That's what you are experiencing. Ichcha Shakti is desire. Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti is wisdom. Kriya Shakti is that. Now, through Vedanta teaching, I am trying to awaken the Jnana Shakti in people. Through Kriya practice, I am awakening the Kriya Shakti in you. Okay? The Ichcha Shakti is the Sankalpa of the master. His intention of the master. Are you getting what is the picture?
Yeah, yes, very much.
Okay. Any questions?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Anybody else has any questions, please?
Hari Om Prabhuji.
Hari Om Mani. Also?
The Nididhyasa is focusing on the paying attention to the treasure, which normally otherwise intellect pays attention to the object.
Correct.
How can an object pay attention to the subject? Because intellect
when you try to pay the attention to the object pays attention. Attention goes back to the subject. The attention disappears, merges with the subject.
Okay.
You cannot. There's no attention. No more attention there.
No more attention. Only
attention
it is used as a tool. Only initially it is used as a tool.
Yeah. Okay. Initially, it's used as a withdrawal, actually. That's what called in yogic language, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal from senses.
Okay.
So you withdraw your attention from the external objects, you turn towards self. That's why Ramana Maharshi asks, Ramana Maharshi says, inquire who am I? Ask the question, who am I? Then the questioner disappears. The attention disappears into the source.
Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Anybody else has any questions? If there are no questions, we'll go into Nididhyasa meditation. Shall we meditate now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So is the distinction clear? Nididya, Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Jnana clear? Vedantic process and yogic process, is the distinction clear? So Samadhi will definitely help you to purify your mind. But Samadhi is not realization. Samadhi comes through Shravana, Mana, Viveka. That's the message. Is that clear? And Nididhyasa will help you to get rid of impressions, vasanas. So I'll do Nididhyasa and get realization is not correct. Nididhyasa is only removing the impressions because you are already Brahman. You cannot become Brahman by Nididhyasa. Turiya is not we can attain. Turiya is not a state which you can attain. Turiya is you are already Turiya. You have to recognize I am Turiya. Okay. So shall you close? Can you sit silently? Close your eyes. Sit in a comfortable posture. Become aware of the surrounding world. Become aware of the room around you. Become aware of the vast universe around you. Ask yourself question, where is this world? This world is nothing but a thought in my mind. Entire objective world is nothing but a thought. The objects in the universe are nothing but appearance of thoughts in my mind. So let us go to the mental world, where entire physical world is hidden in the form of thoughts. What is there in the mental world? The mental world consists of objects called thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sensations of various kind. Is there any mental world other than this? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sensations. So all these are objects in the mental world. The nature of objects is objects are constantly changing. They are nitya. Let us observe the breath. Become aware of the breath, in breath and out breath. The breath is moving in and out. The breath keeps changing, but I am the observer of breath. I am the sakshi, the witness. The witness does not change. I am the unchanging witness. Let us take the first step of samadhi. Shabdan with Rupan with Savikalpa Samadhi. Rupa means form, objects. So we are looking at the mental objects. The breath is a mental object. Mental objects are changing. But hold on to a thought, I am Sakshi, the witness. The witness does not change. Be aware that you are unchanging witness. Breath keeps changing, but I am not changing. As you observe the breath, the mind calms down. Rupanvid Savikalpa Samadhi. Now let us pay attention to other mental objects. Let us become aware of sensations in the body. Become aware of sensations in the head. Small microscopic movements in the head. Sensations in the head are changing, but I am the unchanging witness of these sensations. Become aware of sensations in the face and the neck. The sensations in the face are changing. I am the unchanging witness of the changing sensations. Become aware of the neck. Changing sensations. I am the unchanging witness. Become aware of the body, chest, and stomach. Feel the sensations. I am the unchanging witness of the sensations. I am the Sakshi. Become aware of your back, sensations in the back. I am the unchanging witness of the sensations in the back. Become aware of your thighs and leg, left leg and right leg. Feel the sensations. I am the witness of unchanging witness of sensations. My whole body is an object in my awareness. I am the Sakshi. Any thought comes, thoughts can come and go, but I don't change. I am the unchanging witness of thoughts. I am the Sakshi. I am the witness. Thoughts appear and disappear. The sensations appear and disappear. I am there all the time, eliminating all sensations. Now we'll go to second step, Shabdanvid Savikalpa Samadhi. We'll remember the nature, we'll remember the teaching of Vedanta, contemplative teaching of Vedanta about the Sakshi. I am the unchanging witness Sakshi. I am the witness of the waking state. I am the witness of the dream state. I am the witness of deep sleep state. When I get up in the morning, The body, mind, and the world appear. When I go to sleep, the waking world disappears, waking body disappears, dream body, dream world appears. In deep sleep, everything disappears. I am the unchanging witness of all these states. The waking world, waking body, waking mind do not affect me. There's no attachment to any of these. The dream body, dream world are not attached to me. They appear and disappear in me. Deep sleep state appears and disappears in me. I am unattached. Asangoham, 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 punapuna. I am aware of myself as I am. Whenever I speak of I is consciousness, I am is existence. I am is self-evident to me. I am the Sakshi, the witness. What I witnessed, what is witnessed, the object, the body, mind, intellect, and world are nothing but objects in my consciousness. I am the subject. The objects appear and disappear. Waking world appears and disappears. Dream world appears and disappears. Deep sleep appears and disappears. What appears and disappears is mithya, unreal. The entire world and body is nothing but name and form, mithya. The observer of this, I am Satya, I am the reality, sole reality. There's no witness. That's why Sakshi is Brahman. Witnessed is Mithya. Sakshi is Brahman. I am that Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I am all pervading reality. I am present in everybody as Sakshi, the witness. I am present in the world in the form of existence. Existence and consciousness is my nature. I am Satchidananda Swarupa, existence, consciousness, bliss, infinite reality. Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमया। ओम शांति शांति शांति। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। नानु नानेंबुदु नानल्ल ई देह मन बुद्धि नानल्ल सच्चिदानंदात्म शिवनानु नानी शिवोहम शिवोहम शिवोहम। I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am pure consciousness, Shiva Swarupi. Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam. To know the self is to know God. To know God is to be God. To be God is to know the truth. Antarjyotihi, Bahirjyotihi, Pratyak Jyotihi, Paratpara, Jyotireva Jyotihi, Swayam Jyotihi, Atma Jyotihi, Shivosmiham. I am the light of the self, Atma Jyoti, light of awareness, illuminating the entire world. I illuminate the mental world of objects, thoughts, feelings, emotions. I eliminate the absence of thoughts, feelings, emotions within the mind during deep sleep. I am the light beyond all lights. I am the supreme light, Paranjyoti, light of love, light of peace, light of happiness. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Gently rub both of your hands. Give warmth to the eyes.